Hello, everyone. This presentation forms a part of the final assessment in Module 1, Workplace Safety and Health, in the Business Management Supervision Level 3 certificate course offered at the Garmix Art Academy. Our course facilitator is Ms. Fiona Barrett, and our group members are Diana Warwood, Alec Nunes, Jacqueline Williamson, Sushana Williams-Jones, Hope Daly, and Chantel Dunn. Please enjoy. All right. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome us all to this orientation exercise, which is being held to welcome our two newest members of staff. I want to welcome very specially our new production manager, Ms. Jacqueline Williamson, and our driver, Ms. Chantel Dunn. Thank you, ladies, for accepting the challenge to become a part of the Ruff Puff Bakery family. Also would like to welcome, as our presenters open their cameras, Miss Diana Warwood. She is our quality assurance manager. She is responsible for keeping this place running according to standard. Also would love to welcome our Safety and Health Manager, Ms. Sushana Williams-Jones. Morning, Mrs. Jones. Thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure also to welcome our Safety and Health Officer, Mr. Alec Nunes. Thank you, Mr. Nunes. Thank you, Ms. Williamson. Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Great pleasure to share this presentation with you and to welcome you all to the Ruff Puff Bakery family. Our presentations today are going to go as follows. I will be doing the first presentation. I am your HR manager, Ms. Hope Daly. I am the one who is responsible to ensure that your experience with us is the best one possible and that you gain everything that you can from being a part of this family. Also would love to welcome, when the time is right, ladies to have any questions that you may have any first, please feel free to do so, but that will be done at the appropriate time. We will indicate when our question and answer section is. Just write down any questions that you may have in the interim. Time is available. We will let you have all the questions aired. So our first presentation will be done by me. And if you will bear with me while I share. All right. Everyone is seeing clearly? Excellent. Yes. So again, welcome to our orientation exercise. This exercise serves to introduce you to the department and in particular to the duties that you will be expected to perform as a member of the staff of the Ruff Puff Bakery. We also want to give you an idea of what you can expect in your day-to-day duties and what you will be required to do as a part of a broader vision that the Ruff Puff Bakery has for its contribution to nation building. Just to do a quick icebreaker to make everyone feel more comfortable and to give them an opportunity to understand what it is that we are about today. I hope you're seeing this picture clearly. There are 6 major infractions to safety and health rules that are evident in this picture, and I'm going to invite everyone to participate, but more so our new staff to identify what those infractions are. So you can just indicate, and I will say whether or not you're correct, and we will determine what those infractions are. Who wants to go first? Mr. Nunes, thank you so much for volunteering, sir. Go right ahead, please.
Right. So, based on what I'm seeing is that there is a man crossing when there's an incoming forklift with loads on it, and I'm
Right,
right, and that is not safe.
indeed. All right. Can somebody identify another one? It's done. Thank you. Go right ahead, please.
Right. So there is a gentleman trying to catch a box that is coming off a staircase or looking a lock. And so that is dangerous. In the event that he misses, he can injure himself.
Indeed. Very good. Major infraction. You'll also notice that neither of those employees are wearing any kind of safety gear. All right. Mrs. Jones, please go right ahead.
Right. So behind the trailer or the truck, there is a large pool of water, and that can allow the vehicle to skid and hit the gentleman that's walking behind.
Right. And that by itself is an infraction because one should never be walking behind a moving vehicle, especially one of that size. It's incredibly difficult for the driver of the vehicle to see that he is there. All right, anybody want to identify one more? Mrs. Williams, Miss Williamson, go right ahead, please.
Yes, there are several gentlemen loading a truck with dangerous chemicals, and they are not wearing any gear, protective gear.
Very good. Very, very good and very important because, of course, you realize that those chemicals probably aren't stored properly either. And when they are handling them without the proper care, they will easily be contaminated, a very dangerous injury to life and health. All right, thank you so very much, everyone, for participating in our icebreaker. Really appreciate it. And we are going to move quickly along to the business of introducing you to the Ruff Puff Bakery. And we are going to start by reading to you our vision statement. This is guides us in our decision making from day to day. This is where all our decisions stem from, and we use it to guide the choices that we make in making this company what it is. So, the Rough Puff Bakery is committed to providing delicious, healthy, and economical baked goods that contribute to the improvement of national eating practices and make healthy food available to all sectors of society. To create a company that contributes consistently and creatively to nation building through support to educational institutions and entities dedicated to supporting underprivileged sectors of society. And you will also see our mission statement, which is we build our nation the healthy way. So a little bit about who we are. Our company was established in 1998 by Fiona Barrett, and Miss Barrett's desire to see more effort be put in to preparing baked goods that use healthy ingredients and that use proper standards of production in order to ensure that not only persons enjoy what they eat, but they also benefit from what they eat. And so Miss Barrett founded this company in 1998 to achieve these goals, and I believe very firmly that we are well on our way to achieving them. Our company also has 8 departments that is served by 53 employees. Now, ladies, as a part of the Ruff Puff Bakery, we would like you to understand where in the hierarchy of the quality assurance department you fall. And as you can see now from your organizational chart, your department is led by Miss Diana Warwood. She is our quality assurance manager. She is directly responsible for our plant manager and our safety and health manager, who is missing the person of Ms. Sushana Williams-Jones. Ms. Warwood is also responsible to oversee our production manager, who will now be Ms. Jacqueline Williamson. And Ms. Williamson will be directly in charge of our new driver, Ms. Chantel Dunn, as well as our floor manager, technical officer, and both our bakers. Ms. Sushana Williams-Jones is the person responsible to have oversight of our safety and health officer, Mr. Alec Nunes. So it always helps to know where on the channel you fall, to know whom you answer to and who you need to go to for help, or if you identify anything that needs to be changed or improved, who you need to send those ideas to us through. So you bear this in mind. Of course, all of this information will be shared with you after the meeting so that you can have them to refer to. But for now, this is where you fall on the system. Also, just a quick idea of what it is that we produce. We do breads, buns, bullers, biscuits and crackers, pastries, cinnamon rolls, sugar buns, and marble cakes. And we're looking to improve our offerings very soon with some very innovative ideas that are being cooked up in the bakery. Moving on to more direct matters with regard to how we are run and the standards that we use to determine how we operate our systems. We are currently ISO certified, and of course, therefore, we are governed by all of ISO standards and operating procedures. You will be made more familiar with those as time goes on. I'm sure that Ms. Warwood is looking forward to enlightening you about all that is required to ensure that the company runs well. We also follow the occupational and health standards of OSHA, which determines how we keep you safe, keep the factory safe, and keep everything running according to standard. We also follow the Factory Workers Act of 1943, which primarily helps us to govern how we take care of you, the workers, and the rights that you have as employees of this company. Moving on now to being a little more specific about what this company's requirements are in order to take care of you, the workers. So one of our major commitments is to provide a workplace free from serious recognized hazards and comply with standards, rules, and regulations issued under the OSH Act. So what this means is that we are responsible to create a workplace, first and foremost, that is free of hazards, that is fully complying with all the standards, so that you as workers can come into a space that is already set for you to do the job that you've been called to do. It also gives you the opportunity to know what a good workspace looks like so that you can readily identify if something is going wrong. It is also our commitment as a company to establish or update operating procedures and communicate them to the employees so they know what health and safety requirements to follow. So whenever it is that you have any issues with what you're asked to do, bear in mind that they are all dictated by a set of standards that allow us to continue to operate as a company. The minute we fall down with following these rules and regulations is the minute we will lose our certification, and we cannot afford that. It also allows to take care of you. So when you know what the rules are with regards to how to do your job, with regards to what safety equipment to wear, with regards to how to conduct yourself when you're on the bakery floor, then you will also know whether or not you are being taken care of by us as a company, that you are being allowed properly to do your job. Also want to note that which is our responsibility to ensure that there's proper codes, color codes, posters, labels, signs, all kinds of warning signs. And when you go through the factory floor, when you go through the actual property, you will notice that there are strategic places that signs are placed that determine places that are safe for humans to transpire, where it is that you cannot go, what areas are have harmful chemicals or anything that you may need to use your protective gear before you access. It is your responsibility to look out for these signs, look out for these codes, look out for these colors, so you know how to conduct yourself, how to keep yourself and your co-workers safe. Also want to establish or update operating procedures and communicate them. Good. Employers must provide safety training in a language and vocabulary workers can understand. And I'm sure you can appreciate that. It is one thing to offer training to staff. It's a whole other matter for the staff to get that training, to understand it, and to be able to apply it to their job so that their standards and their quality of production can improve. So if at any point in time you are given any kind of training, if you're asked to conduct or to do any kind of duty and you don't understand what to do, it's our responsibility to ensure that you get that clarity so that you're able to do your job and do it well. So that is the end of my presentation, and my duty once again to welcome you heartily to the Ruff Puff Bakery family and to indicate now how we are going to proceed with the rest of this orientation exercise. All right, so we are moving on nicely to the next phase of our orientation exercise, where we will welcome to make her presentation our Quality Assurance Manager, Miss Diana Warwood. Miss Warwood, please go right ahead. We're not hearing you, Miss Warwood. I'm not sure what's happening. Go ahead. Diana? All right, not sure what's happening with her volume. Just give her a few minutes to sort that out, please.
Having me. It's a pleasure. Welcome to our new employees, Ms. Jacqueline Williamson and Ms. Chantal Dunn. So I am your QA manager, and I would like to present at this time. Hello, and welcome to Ruff Puff Bakery Limited, new employee online orientation. My name is Diana Warwood, and I'm the Quality Assurance Manager here at Ruff Puff Bakery Limited. Today I'll be sharing a little about how we deliver optimum quality of goods and services provided by Ruff Puff Bakery, in addition to maintaining consistent quality, whereby ensuring compliance with the laws, regulations, and environmental standards, and when necessary, recommend improvements. ISO certified? Yes, we are ISO certified. Our ISO 9001 certification act as proof that we abide by the standards set forth by the International Organization for Standardization. They instill confidence in our clients and other stakeholders that our company conducts itself efficiently and to a high standard. Our ISO certifications also prove our company's commitment to important business objectives such as customer satisfaction and production. Identified hazards and the outcome of risk assessment and risk control procedures. Hazard. What is hazard? A hazard is simply a condition or set of circumstances that presents a potential for harm. So we've identified three main hazards in Ruff Puff Bakery, and we have the hierarchy of controls. So here is where we help eliminate heat levels by providing proper ventilation, adequate exhaust fans to extract the heat from within the baking area. We also look at giving employees 10 minutes break and breaks every 2 hours when heat index is 90 degrees Fahrenheit or greater, and a 15-minute break every hour when the heat index is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Water stations are set up at various points for staff to keep hydrated. The highest quality of protective gears and equipment are provided by us as necessary. All right, 2, we looked at improper use of personal protective equipment. We know that poor PPE compliance greatly increases the risk of injury such as burns, cuts, punctures, electrocution, slips, falling objects, loss of hearing and sight, and the list goes on. This is addressed by us providing the following: teaching on the proper use and maintenance of PPE, provide staff for the correct PPE for the specific job, and we also train and coach our staff on the importance of wearing PPE to protect themselves and others. 3, we looked at inadequately trained staff to operate equipment. Inadequately trained trained employees, create dangerous work environments. We have the duty to care to keep our employees safe in the workplace, and that means both physically and mentally. So we look at mandatory and continuous training for our staff, quarterly staff training, supervision for staff performing high-risk jobs and operating machinery and or equipment, certified machine operators, and we examine all equipment before performing jobs. Promote effective participative arrangements in managing health and safety risk. We promote participative efforts by getting all staff on board in managing their safe work habit through education, training, recognition, safety committees, emergency response, and department safety discussions. Another program Ruff Puff Bakery focuses on is employee safety through the AWARE program. AWARE stands for a Workplace Accident and Injury Reduction Program. This program defines responsibilities for all levels of the organization and how we will identify and control hazards and communicate that information to our employees. Continuing, it also explains enforcement policies to ensure employees are familiar and accountable for the contents of the program. Each employee will receive a copy upon hire. Ruff Puff Bakery, Limited believes that all employees are responsible for safety. We are focused on empowering employees to create a safer working environment by taking immediate personal actions to eliminate and reduce hazards. As an employee, you must attend and participate in all safety training sessions, including general safety training, as well as job-specific training sessions. You must comply with all safety rules, policies, and OSHA regulations. Violations to our safety policies by performing unsafe acts, not wearing PPE, or operating equipment without guards in place will result in disciplinary action. Continuing, you should also keep your work area clean and orderly, as this will prevent injuries, but also increase productivity. Immediately report all injuries, accidents, near misses, and unsafe working conditions to your supervisor and participate in accident investigations as required. You should also fix or remove basic hazards such as spills, debris on the floor, flipped or buckled rugs, etc. For more complex hazards, please isolate the hazards if possible and report to your supervisor immediately. We also encourage you to give kudos, recognition to your co-workers for their efforts towards creating a safe work environment. We want all employees to have the mindset, safety hazards and accidents, not on my watch. Procedures for identifying existing and potential hazards in the work area. Hazard identification. Hazard identification is the process of identifying all hazards in the workplace. Hazard identification can be done by or during design and implementation, designing a new process or procedure, purchasing and installing new machinery before tasks are done, checking equipment or following processes, reviewing surroundings before each shift. While tasks are being done, be aware of changes, abnormal conditions, or sudden. During inspections, formal, informal, supervisor, health and safety committee, after incidents, near misses or minor events, and last but not least, injuries. So we're continuing to be sure found, we look at all aspects of the work and include non-routine activities such as maintenance, repair, or cleaning. The physical work environment, equipment, materials, products, etc. that are used. We include how the tasks are done, injury and incident records, talk to the workers because they know their job and its hazards best. Include all shifts and people off-site, either at home or other sites, drivers, teleworkers with clients, etc. The way the work is organized or done, foreseeable, unforeseeable conditions determine whether a product, machine, or equipment intentionally or unintentionally change. Example, safety guard that could be removed. Review all of the phases of the life cycle. Examine risk to visitors or the public. Consider the groups of people that may have a different level of risk, such as the young or inexperienced workers, persons with disabilities, or new or expectant mothers. Some of the ways we identify risk also is by using the job hazard analysis sheet. Job hazard analysis is a process that breaks down and identifies the dangers of a particular operation or task, integrating health and safety practices to reduce the potential hazard to the workers. A job safety analysis suggests the safest way to perform a job. And so we see that we have a template here in which we use for that particular assessment. Also, we have a thorough inspection checklist. So it's very detailed, and this is how we go through and we look for these things when we are inspecting. Monitor records for occupational safety and health for the work area to meet workplace and legal requirements. Occupational medical records record and document occupationally related medical information of all types. These include medical examination, visits to medical facilities, clinical laboratory data, injuries, pulmonary function tests, and audiograms. OSHA requires that information be retained for at least 30 years after the termination of employment. OSHA Standard 29 CFR 1910-1020, access to employee exposure and medical records. Medical records is kept in compliance with the OSHA standard, but records are restricted to healthcare professionals, the employee and appropriate certifying reviewing officials. Release of an individual's medical information must be authorized in writing by the individual. All right, we see 1910-1020 says, whenever an employee or designated representative requests access to a record, the employer shall assure that access is provided in a reasonable time, place, and manner. If the employee cannot reasonably provide access to the record within 15 working days, the employer, within the 15 working days, apprise the employee or designated representative requesting the record of the reason for the delay and the earliest date when the record can be made available. So here is a roadmap, management system roadmap. So this is just a map where you can actually see from different intervals what we do. All right, so thank you for your time and all the best to our new employees.
All right, thank you so very much, Ms. Warwood. Very crucial information, very well presented. I know that our employees will be very well served by the information that you have just presented. Moving on quickly to our safety and health manager, Mrs. Sushana Williams-Jones. Mrs. Jones is going to be presenting on the different ways in which you as employees will be expected to help to keep our workspace safe. Please go right ahead, Mrs. Jones.
Good day, everyone. Good day. I'm not sure what just happened. So, good day, everyone. Welcome to our new employee. I am trying to get my video up. Excuse me, but welcome. A good day to everyone, including my colleague. And I am the health and safety manager for Ruff Bakery Limited, and my name is Sushana Williams Jones. And so we are a staff that loves to entertain, a staff that
those up to date as in regards to our OHS policies and our Factories Act. And so my presentation will be on hazards within the bakery, as well as how to minimize and how to prevent them. And this includes how to act safely while at work. And so do excuse me, I really do apologize for my video being absent. So here we go. It should be coming up now. Right. There we go. So hi again, everyone. And so first up, we will be talking. So what do we think can be a hazard, or what do we think is a hazard? I would believe that we're remembering all my colleagues had said before, and it was just earlier. So can I have at least one volunteer to tell what hazard is? No one wants to volunteer? All right, no problem. So we know a hazard is anything within our environment that poses a threat to life or to the company, anything that can cause harm and danger. In a nutshell, that's what a hazard is. And risks are things that can cause harms, but these would be perhaps better yet the minor ones, right? And so we're going into a presentation. So hazards within our workplace, we're going to look at 3 today. And so we know that we're in a bakery, and so there's an oven, and better yet a large one. And so there is heat, and there is sometimes some improper use of personal protective equipment. And sometimes some of our employees might not be well trained, or perhaps they're not able to maneuver certain machines, because some machines can be a little bit outdated as opposed to some that are just coming in with new instructions and stuff like that. So we're just going to look at, for example, 3 types of hazards today. And so, like I said, we have heat, improper use of personal protective gears or equipment, and inadequately trained staff operating equipment or machinery. Right. So if it is that you are inadequately trained, then by rights you should not be operating a machine. And if we use our layman terms in Jamaica, we can just do the thing, as in we can just fix up the machine and get working, thinking that as we work we will understand. But sometimes, or better yet, we ought not to do that, because it can present itself as a hazard or a risk to each employee and yourself. And so we have effects of the hazards in the workplace. So exposure to long hours of heat and warmer temperatures than our bodies can adapt to or used to can cause one to become dehydrated. And so when you become dehydrated, you pose more danger to your internal organs. And so we don't want that at work. And then we get to the PPE. So we have improper usage of the PPE, right? And so, for example, someone would say that they wear an overall and you also wear steel toe shoes. And you're saying perhaps the steel toe is not as fashionable as perhaps a Reebok or an Adidas. And so you'd prefer to wear your fashionable shoes. And so you will, you know, put on the hard boot and say the fashionable shoes. we are saying that where it comes to PPE, all the parts should be worn in their correct places. So the helmet can't be where the hard boot is, and the hard boot can't be where the helmet is. All of them have to be in their correct spaces and worn at the appropriate time and in the appropriate areas, right? And so when we get to someone that's not trained to use a specific machinery or equipment, it poses a threat to themselves, and we consider that a hazard or a risk, as well as it can lead to extremely dangerous end results. So one can maybe lose a body part, one can injure someone else. The factory itself can uh, be implicated in that you can have fires, you can have machines breaking down entirely, and you can have loose parts flying all over the place, stuff like that. So we want to eliminate that aspect. We want to eliminate that hazard entirely. And so we encourage our new employees, we encourage our staff that are already there to always try to keep themselves up to date with each equipment. And if there's one that is new, there is a procedure that we go through to educate everyone so that we avoid hazards and risk, right? So we get to safety and you. And so to keep ourselves safe and you safe, we implement OH&S policies as well as the Factories Act policies, and that gives you the ability to mitigate hazards and risk. And so safety and you, how to perform in the safest way, or how to perform your job in the safest way. Use all tools and machinery by specification given in the manual. So like I stated before, we don't want untrained persons, or we don't want you to work on something or use something that you're not informed about, right? And so we have another point where we adhere to all safety policies. It includes OH&S and the Factories Act, as well as the other policies that we as an entity put in place to protect you and ourselves. Ensure that all emergency exits next to you are clear at all times. Make immediate reports of all and every identifiable risk and hazards, as well as any employee you might see doing something that you think is hazardous or risky. We ask you to report these immediately. Always keep your work area clean. Having a clean work allows you to be safe, and it allows you to be efficient and effective. Be aware of your surrounding at all times. Be mindful of the signs that are put up in place. They're there to protect you and they're there to protect us. Be aware of the things that are on the ground, the things that are hanging over you. Be conscious of your surroundings. Practice at all times proper posture. So we teach how to live and how to sit properly, so that this will help you to eliminate ailments along the way. So some people might have back problems after a period of time, and that would have been as a result of not using proper posture to lift and while sitting. And lastly, keep yourself updated with new safety policies. And so the policies are always put out there, the new updates are always given to everyone. And so when you're given, we ask that you take a note of them and you retain them so as to know how to act in the event of an emergency, right? And lastly, steps to minimize hazards and risks in the workplace. So we'll just look at two. So we have to, where heat is concerned, we have to, within the bakery, we have to provide adequate exhaust fans. So to suck the heat from the bakery and put it outside, so that while you're handling stuff on the conveyors or in the oven, you are able to be cooled at some point, right? And we ensure that staff at least has 4 or 2 5 minutes or 10 minutes break to hydrate themselves, get a glass of water, a bottle of water, or just to step outside to have some fresh air. And we also implore them to wear heat-resistant clothing at all times. We know it is a overly hot environment that you're going to be in for pretty much long extended periods of time throughout your day. And so we want you to be able to work efficiently. And so we encourage you, while we provide these things, we encourage you to wear them to protect yourselves. Do ensure that there is proper ventilation. We do ensure that so that you can be able to breathe easily. And have that opportunity to breathe easily, then it allows you to be more conscious and cognizant because you are then cleared enough to properly complete your task. Sorry. And lastly, we talk about the PPE. We do implore that you make every single effort, every time possible, every opportune to wear your PPE at all times and in the correct state. Ensure that your PPE are always clean and presentable. Ensure that whatever machinery you're going to use, it's properly guarded, it is bolted down, its area within its area that it's within is clean, and there's no water on the ground or debris that can cause hazards or pose a risk to you or anyone else, right? And in closing my presentation today, I implore you, as you become new employees of the Ruff Puff Bakery Limited, always think that safety begins with you. Please ensure to think that and to understand and realize that safety is a wholesome thing. It starts from the managers all the way down. But each individual has to act safely each moment of every day so that we all can be safe. And so, to go in further, my assistant, Mr. Alec Nunes, he will be informing you of how to convey what you would have identified as hazards or risk within your workspace, how to report it, whom to report it to, when to report it, how that is done. He will get in the finer details so that you're fully informed as to how to stay safe while on the job. We say thank you for choosing Rough Puff Bakery Limited, and we trust that your tenure with us will be a productive one.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Jones, for that very informative presentation. Great instructions for our new staff to abide by in order to be safe in their environment and to be able to enjoy performing the duties that will be theirs to perform. And after that very able way of handing over to our next presenter, Mr. Nunes, who is our Safety and Health Officer, I invite Mr. Nunes to come now and to bring his presentation on on reporting incidents and our evacuation techniques. Go ahead, Mr. Nunes.
Uh, Thank you very much, Miss Daly, for introducing me, and Miss Jones as well, who have explained what safety is like. I want to greet also the new employees as well, as it regards to Rough Puff Pastry or Limited Bakery, sorry. So here, let me just have my PowerPoint presented here. Bear with me, please. Let's share my screen. All right. I know that we all are tired. Let me see how best I could get this over with, so we can hear from our new employee. All right, please let me know if you guys are seeing my screen, please.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we're seeing it very clearly.
All right, perfect. All right. All right. So Today we will still continue to look at workplace health and safety. And my name is Alec Nunez, your safety officer. So today's objective is and reporting injury and incident, emergency and evacuation procedures, and implement and improvements to ensure that information remains up to date and readily available, accessible to the work group. Also, I have included conclusion and also my reference, right? So when it comes down to incident report, what comes to mind? So incident reporting is critical to a successful workplace safety and health program. Do our employees know how to do our employees know how and when to submit an incident report? Do they? Well, let's find out. So incident report. All workplace incidents should be reported, documented, and investigated. This includes any situation in which an employee was injured or died. Right? So property and equipment damage occurred. An employee becomes ill while at work due to a possible reaction of workplace condition. Any other person, not an employee, could be a visitor, student that is conducting internship at Ruff Puff Bakery, right? Was injured or become ill as a possible result of actions caused by company or Ruff Puff or an employee that is based at the company, right? An employee was injured on a in a motor vehicle accident while driving from their job, or a near miss occurred could have result in injury, death, or property damage. So these are some of the questions that comes to mind, right? When should an incident be reported? How do employees know about incident reporting? And how should an incident be reported? And what does an incident report need to include? Right? So when should an incident be reported? So all incidents should be reported immediately. An incident report possess what an incident report process while determining the follow-up requests if necessary. The employee should not have to make a guess as to whatever I wonder, right? It is. So so their ins so their issues or incident is worthy of an incident report. When in doubt, file an incident report. Alright, so as it relates to the last question that was asked, what does an incident report need to include? So every incident report you file should contain a minimum of the following, right? Type of incident, it could be a near miss or property damage or theft. Address, date of incident, time of incident, name of affected individual, or narrative description of the incident, including the sequence of events and result of incident, right? Injuries if necessary, treatments required if any, witness, witness statement, other workers involved, video or 360 degrees photograph of the scene. That is very important as well. Steps to prepare an incident report, right? So obtain the proper forms from your institution. So at our institution here, we have a form which is located in the HR department. You're able to get that form to fill out the incident report form so you can have it signed up and submitted to the relevant representative. Right? So start the report as soon as possible. So if you're unconscious, try to see your best uh, when you're conscious enough, I would say, to have that form filled out. So provide the basic facts, ensure that all the information are included, or include a line about the basic nature of the incident. So proofread is very important. Ensure that you proofread the document to, to prevent you from being reiterating points. So here's an example of an incident report. On my left is the form for you as the person that is has gone through the incident. To ensure that your name, there are relevant details that is required here. Your name, if you're driving, your driver's license, your passport, your maybe your ID number, your phone, your email address, and details about what took place, right? And if there's any witness or any injuries. On the right, you will see persons filing report and official use only. So official use official use only, that's the person receiving the form from you, the representative, will be signing there and stating that the data. Are you guys hearing me?
We're hearing you loud.
Alright, perfect. I'm sure you guys have seen that video just now. Hold on here. And how it details how a incident report should be written. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue. So evacuation procedures, right? So these are some main things that we evacuate for. Well, there's other things, but these are some main points, right? So fire, explosion, bomb threat, chemical spill are among the occurrences that may require emergency evacuation of Ruff Puff Bakery facility, right? Continuous sounds and flashing of fire alarms, horns, and shrubs in or on lease an operated facility in the evacuation signal. Everyone who is alerted by this alarm is required to evacuate the facility as quick and as calmly as possible. Alright, so emergency and evacuation procedures at Ruff Puff Bakery. So Ruff Puff Bakery safety standard must always be in compliance with current fire and evacuation laws, right? So this may include a maximum capacity of employees and clients allowed in the facility at any given time, right? So we can't have a massive crowd of persons within the facility. There must be space at all times. So this may also include a placement of highly visible fire exit maps throughout the workplace for both personnel and public to reference. So light and existing indicators must also be in regular working condition. The location of the fire alarm switch should be properly indicated for all personnel to recognize. So these are in place, so each and every person can recognize the switch and the relevant exit lights and signal and signs. Right? So personnel should also be familiar with any audio emergency indicator. Right? So we normally have a fire drill each time or every quarter for each year to ensure that person obeys the sound of the alarm, right? And to ensure that person knows what it is for. So in addition to all our safety kits, emergency station are common in compliance with local bylaw and business standards. So Rough Puff bakery personnel should be aware of IWA, an emergency shower and fire blanket location. So here's a picture of or a diagram, I would say, or evacuation diagram of Ruff Puff Bakery. Right, so you'll see the different types of signs, also the route to exit the facility, and the equipment that are being used if there's such I would say fire. Alright, so Ruff Puff Bakery emergency procedures. So the bakery requires that all facility operants to respond to the alarm signal by immediately follow the evacuation procedures outlined below. So first, you have to ensure that you stop all activities immediately. Assess that all persons can evacuate the area. Follow exit signs. Use the stairs. Allow not the elevator. allow others to enter the stairwell, right? So ensure that other persons are able to enter or exit through the stairwells. Steer clear of hazard. Move away from buildings. Do not re-enter the building without an all clear, which is given by a fire chief, a police officer, or maybe it was passed down to your supervisor, right? So these are information that you have to ensure, or we ensure information remains up to date so person can always be refreshed of exactly what is going on as regards to safety policies and procedures. So continuous training of employees, right? You reward employee based on their safety behavior. Partner with occupational clinics so employee can have a more understanding of how to go about safety and how to actually I would say portray the whole thing. So use the use of more labels and sign, keep things clean, make sure employees have the right tools and have uh, regular equipment inspections, right? To ensure that equipments are up to par with the standard, as one of my colleagues said, the ISO standard. All right, so encourage stretch break. The person needs to go outside and take a break, right? And not to stay inside and be clustered. And you know that maybe you're homophobic, I would say, because of the heat and so forth. So go outside, take a stretch, have a stretch, and then you can go ahead and resume your position of working. Implement safety protocols from the start. Keep an open dialogue among each other. So maybe a person know much more as regards to safety. You can at least educate yourself from what is passed on, the information that is passed on from your colleague, right? So in case or in such case where you know how of the protocol or procedures to take, right? So have a regular meeting on workplace safety, right? So we normally have a regular meeting to keep everybody up to date on information of any changes as regards to our safety policies and procedures. All right, so I think this is passed down to the end of my presentation here. These are my reference if you would like to go ahead and read some more as regards to safety and in regards to how the company go about doing their safety procedures. Uh, I'm going to pass over to Hope Daly, which is the moderator of this seminar today. I want to thank as well the new employees for coming in and being a part of us. It's a pleasure to meet you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Mr. Nunes. Thank you very much for all of that very pertinent information that our new staff will need to know in order to do their part to report incidents that they may see. This report occasions where there might be potential for hazards, for harm, for any kind of danger to staff or to property. We look forward to them coming in and falling into step with us to keep our areas safe. Now we are at that stage in this process where we allow our new employees to ask any questions they may have based on the presentations that were done. I know that we are a little pressed for time, but I'm going to give each of them a chance to ask a question that they may have and to throw it out to whichever one of our presenters can best answer their question. So, Ms. Williamson, please go right ahead. Ms. Williamson? Williamson, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. I take it you have some questions that you may need to ask.
Okay, yes.
You
Hi,
do
good
wonderful.
afternoon, everyone. I am Miss Jacqueline Williamson, your new production manager. I am delighted to be a part of this company, and thank you very much for all the persons who have spoken before. Yes, I have a few questions in regards to my team. And one of the questions, okay, I'm throwing this question to Miss Warwood, Quality Assurance Manager. During production, it may cause to work late nights or early mornings to be able to facilitate production of goods. Sometimes we are required to work overtime in order to meet deadlines. We are therefore constantly exposed to heat, quiet and pleasant, or noisy environment. So I'm asking, how does the Rough Puff Bakery tend to minimize the risk of the employees being overworked or working very long hours, which could result in burnout, stress, and fatigue?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So I am hearing myself echoing, but I'm going to go ahead and answer. So we actually have breaks, right? Allow employees to get that particular rest time and recuperate. We also provide water stations where they can keep hydrated. So the breaks will allow employees to get that particular rest time, recuperation, and stretches and so on, as our colleague Mr. Nunes spoke of. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Morrow.
Wonderful. Do you have any more questions, Williamson?
Yes, I do, but I will allow my driver to ask a question.
Yes, we would love to take a question from her. Unfortunately, it appears that she was having some internet issues. I'm not seeing where she's still on with us. So we're going to have to check out the internet in her area just to ensure that we are not asking too much of her for being able to participate in these online events when she doesn't have proper internet. So I am going to take the liberty then of saying, Miss Williamson, that we will give both you ladies an ample opportunity to speak directly with our managers and with others in your unit who will be able to answer more fulsomely your questions, especially as you are on the floor and would be able to make some more observations and perhaps make some suggestions. We expect that you're going to be bringing your expertise to the company in order to improve our production and our operations. So we're looking forward to like minds sharing ideas and improving the Rough Puff Bakery. So and with that, I am going to say thank you so very much to all of the persons who have made themselves available today to facilitate this exercise, to welcome our new staff, and to educate them on some of the things that they need to know in order to work effectively with us. We're looking forward to seeing how they will bring their skills and expertise to develop and improve us here at Rough Puff Bakery. And we are expecting great things from our current staff, from our new staff, and from all that will be accomplished as we press on together to achieve our mission and vision and to make our founder proud. So on behalf of our HR department, I would like to thank you again for joining us. I will now release our new staff to their immediate supervisors to have their sit down, and I expect all of you that any other questions that you have from my office, you will feel free to present them at any time during the proper working hours. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great, great rest of the day.
Thank you,
you.
Miss Daly.
Just to add, there's
Nicely
refreshment
presented.
around the back after. All right,
Thanks
guys.
all.
Of course.
Thanks
So could we
all.
forget the refreshments? Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you
Lee.
very much.
No problem.